What is going on, friends? Sean Dunn coming back with a technical analysis. Here we have Garrett Stokes slinging some hammer during this off-season summertime. I'd love to see it. Before we get into this video, I just want to let you guys know that if you guys are interested in technical analysis, online coaching, programming, maybe some grip and rip merch, go check out my website, gripandrip.co. All right? Now's the time. Now is always the time to get involved and get some outside feedback. It's the off-season. Whether it's the in-season, off-season, preseason, whatever, it's always a good time to be working on technique. All right, so hit your boy up if you need some help. Alrighty, so let's take a look. Let's get into it. I'm gonna mute the music, but yeah. So Garrett, you sent me 2 videos. It's looking pretty decent. I think you sent me a little bit on Instagram, so the left side was shifting a lot. This is a little bit better. I like the orbit on this one. You can see the camera falling over. You sent me the 2 videos though, and they look pretty similar. This one I think I liked a little bit better. In the other video, you were just kind of rising up a little bit more. Legs are getting a little bit straight by the 4th turn. So you're working on kind of slinging the hammer up and left, like Litvinoff, and engaging the lats a little bit. And things are looking pretty solid. Hips are getting up into a turn with the ball pretty centered. Let's see, I think there was one other thing. Oh, that's right. You were asking about how to continue to throw farther. There's a fence out there. I'm trying to throw over the fence. I respect it. I love a good concrete goal like that. Nothing like keeping you honest and helping you chase that barrier physically, which is funny. But yeah. So you're asking like, what now? Do I just do the same things but faster? No, that's not always the case. And I will elaborate, circle back on that. But basically, no, it's not necessarily just about doing things faster. To an extent, maybe. You want the ball to go faster, but it doesn't mean your body always needs to move faster. So let's break it down and look at it. First thing in the winds, and you can't really tell when I slow things down, but the rhythm in the winds could get a little bit better. Position-wise, could be a little bit, your legs don't need to be super bent right here. This is, once again, a weird angle, as you know. You already told me about it, but it's okay. We can still make it work. A little kind of shift of the feet just a little bit, which is normal, I think. Kind of finding your base. And then it's hard to tell here, I think, this position, because the frame cuts off. Excuse me, but frame cuts off, so you can't tell how extended your arms get over your head. But it looks like they do get a little bit too extended. If they're so extended here, then that means your base, your center of mass, your balance, whatever, you're a little bit forwards, your hips come a little bit forwards, you extend a little bit at the low back. You're wearing the bell for stability, which is good, but might just be a little bit unstable there. So maybe try to keep the ball out in front of you more, and then turn back to the right a little bit more, and then I guess wind more facing the right side to an extent, where I think when you face the front too much, which is what you're doing right here, your head's turned to just a little bit before 0, but then your shoulders come to 0. I'd like to see your shoulders maybe stay more towards the right, 270 to the right side of the circle. Because like I said, then you turn back a little bit, but then you extend high over the head, and then as you come through an entry, you shift down and then sling that entry in. But the thing about the winds that I think really could be better, I'll have to watch at full speed for this, is the rhythm. 1, 2. There's really not much rhythm in the winds. Like I said, they're the same speed essentially. You do the first wind and you do the second wind. So if we watch it again, the first wind and the second wind, and it's pretty much the same, and then you kind of slam the entry. What I would like to see, I like the speed of the first one. I think it's pretty controlled, but it's also a little bit short. As you see, the first move in here, like this start position seems to be pretty common nowadays. If you look at like Rudy Winkler and a lot of Patty's guys, they all do the same sort of fixed-footed start. They swing the hammer forwards, and not to say that I'm not a fan of it. I've tried it myself, and I kind of get it. It simplifies the throw a little bit. Maybe I'll go back to it next year. I don't know. But just a little bit tight, as you can see right here. And so you can just see the tension in the arms. And I'm not particularly a fan of, I don't know, I guess doing this start is tough because you got to keep the ball out in a way. You want to make big circles. You want the path of the ball to have a very long radius. And so starting like this with the hammer, like literally right next to what would be, I guess, right behind your right foot, you can see the hammer's running close to the body, and then it kind of stays there, and then kind of even the second wind, hands kind of close to the body, and you come through an entry, and then elbow down, arms kind of tight, hands kind of close to the body. So I guess just one, try to maybe put the ball more off to like the side of the circle, so that way you can really start with a long, wide sweep out to your right, out in front of you, back behind you, out to the right. You want, like I said, big ones. You want to be able to reach far out to the right, far out in front of you, far behind you. Okay, that'll help a little bit. Um, it will slow down the first wind of it, but that's good because even though it's slower, it's more connected. It's a bigger circumference, a bigger path, a longer path of the ball. Um, and so with that, like I said, I think you need a little bit more rhythm in the winds. Perhaps adding in a step up might help. Like you said, you can see you already do this little kind of foot kick anyways. It's kind of like a step up. Like you're kind of adjusting, so like it's kind of naturally built in there. Ooh, I moved the video frame. Let's see if it still works. But yeah, winds are the same speed. So first wind needs to be a little bit bigger, perhaps a little bit slower. And the second wind, you need to get a little bit more hips into it, I guess. Less arms, more hips. I'm wearing the belt. I'm kind of indifferent about it personally. Like I know it's each thrower has their own thing, but personally, I think wearing a belt kind of stiffens up the core a little bit, so it's hard to kind of feel the hips working the way that you need. It's kind of a crutch, if you will, if you ask me. But like I said, I know, like Daniel Hall, for example, slams 80-meter throws wearing a belt. That's his style. Personally, in my opinion, I think to really get the hips connected, wearing the belt isn't the best thing because, and this is an example of why, because like I said, core is really stiff, hips are really stiff, and then it looks like you're kind of just winding with the arms instead of winding with the body. And then, like I said, there's really just not any build in rhythm. So slow first wind, strong second wind, and then continue to build through that second wind as it goes behind you. So that way you're not just like slamming the entry as you come off that second wind where you just go wham and try to smack it. So a little bit smoother, a little bit more rhythmic winds and entry will help overall connection and relaxation and hopefully help you throw farther. And that's the part of, like you said, oh, like how do I throw it farther? How do I get it over the fence? One is could be moving faster. That's part of it. But also, if you increase the radius between you and the ball, if you can get longer, if you can get more relaxed, you can move the same speed and throw farther. Increased movement efficiency, movement economy, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so it's not necessarily moving faster, but perhaps maybe you can get a little bit more relaxed, lengthen the radius, maybe you get more connected, maybe you stay more grounded. But moving faster is not necessarily the thing. You'd rather want to feel more tension from the hammer. You don't want the hammer to feel like it's moving faster, because faster could also mean shorter, and shorter means shorter distance. So um, hopefully that all makes sense. If not, ask me questions. But either way, so coming through in the winds, coming through in the entry. Now we'll actually get into the turn. We're 8 minutes into the video. It's already a long one. Um, so like I said, you wind pretty much straight up in the legs, and then you kind of shift down, sit down, and not bad, especially coming off the heel. That's a hard thing to do, so you do kind of have to really sit the hips down and back. And I actually kind of like your lower body position. Pretty stable. Left heel's pretty stable, hips pretty stable. You're really deep down on the knees, hips are going back. But like I said, the arms just look a little bit tight. I think if you look at like Yuri Sadiq, he starts off heel as well, so I think that'd be a good person to watch. But he also has a very looseness, relaxedness to his upper body that I think could help benefit you. Where you look just a little bit tight. You're a muscly dude. You're built. You're strong, but you got to get those hands relaxed. I recommend using some tacky or something to help you out there. Get the ball out away from you a little bit more, like I said. But that also starts in the winds. Otherwise, in the entry, pretty stable, pretty centered. Coming off that heel, hips got to come back. This is okay. I think you just look a little tight through the arms. Maybe try to hold the hammer up a little bit further in your fingers as well. You can see it looks like you're kind of gripping hard, like I guess it looks like your whole hand, your palm is pretty much covering your left hand. Like I said, maybe you have grip problems, but if you try using some tacky or even chalk or something like that, it can help you hold the hammer a little bit farther out. If your hands are more relaxed, your arms are more relaxed, your shoulders are more relaxed, your hips can connect more. Once again, that's kind of what it all goes back to. So throwing farther isn't about speed. As I've said before, it's about connection. Direction could be a little bit better. I mean, you can see this left side shifting back a little bit. You see this right side working. Right side's a little bit behind. You could get a little bit more involved with this right foot, right knee, right hip. In terms of, like I said, if you feel the ball out to the right more, you'll be able to push with this right leg more to stabilize this left side more, send some direction backwards. And because otherwise you see there's just a little bit of extra rotation here. And you're just missing a little bit of direction forward. So you can see, if, especially look at this foot, it turns, and then you never really get forwards on it. You don't see this left knee travel forwards towards 180. You don't get forward onto that toe quite like you need. You do put the toe down, but you kind of rotate around it rather than step forwards over it or drop that left knee forwards over it. So that kind of comes back to direction in the entry, and then you catch. Hips are kind of underneath you, a little high in the legs, but this is kind of where you stay for the majority of the throw, which is fine. Like I said, the other throw you do tend to rise up a little bit. So like I said, in this entry here, if you drop that left knee a little bit forwards, or even spiral this left knee down towards the ground, so like think about opening it up and turning it down, that'll kind of keep you grounded a little bit sooner. It'll get you grounded a little bit sooner, and then keep you grounded a little bit more, get you deep in the legs. Because like I said, if this left knee doesn't really drop at all, then you're just kind of stiff right there, and that left leg usually always has the tendency to kind of straighten out as the throw goes on. But you catch, hips are kind of underneath you, at least centered, balanced, and then catch, decent. Just looks like there's some tension in the arms. Pretty connected though, head's leading a little bit, not a big deal. Turning back on the right side as the ball goes left is really good, but still looks a little bit tight through the arms. You could see the hands up and out just a little bit more, shoulders a little bit more protracted forwards. And I think it's probably just going to be a repeat of things that we see here, where this position's okay. You can get a little tidier with this right leg movement, but that's really splitting hairs. Get a little bit more A-skip, lead with the knee a little bit more, toe up a little bit more. Decent position, catch, and then just looks a little tight. Left shoulder's maybe up a little bit, hard to tell from this angle. Could be a little bit more direction forwards, where you see you kind of step around, feet land right next to each other. If you had direction just a little bit more in the direction of the sector, that might help. And then, interesting, then you start to see this right foot really turn on this catch. Left heel comes down. A little tension through the arms, not quite fully connected here, leading the ball a little bit, as you can see. So this comes back to patience as well. As the throw goes on, like I said, you're really strong. You're probably pulling with this. Your left shoulder probably feels really strong, which isn't a bad thing. It's just a matter of timing, where, like I said, this heel comes down, and then you start to pull back right away. So this left side does shift back a little bit early there. You start to see you come inside of it. Pause. That sounded really weird in my brain. You start to turn inside of the hammer, where, like I said, this left side kind of needs to hold until ball gets to about 0. So I'll put my mouse where this left shoulder is. You turn, ball gets to 0 right in between there, and so you see you're already shifted back. You're doing the right things just a little bit early. So this comes back to patience, relaxation, waiting for the hammer, letting the ball get ahead of you just a little bit more. And like I said, this is kind of the detriment of worrying about where you feel strong, so you feel like you can pull the hammer across, when in reality, that's not what you actually want to happen. But hips are getting up into it more here. Tension in the arms could be longer on the left, longer towards the sector. Feel the ball stretch forwards. And then same sort of thing here. Like I said, you turn, left foot's really good, and then you could drop this left knee more towards 180, drop it towards the ground, spiral it downwards towards the ground, whatever you want to think about. And then you start to see the orbit kind of get high around this left, or the high point shifts around towards this left side, which I think can be good at times, but it can also be tricky and cause more left side pulling, where there you can see left shoulder up, a little bit of tension, a little bit of turbulence. You catch, like I said, you're not like super grounded in the legs. Looks like you're a little bit high. And then you kind of same thing as the previous turn. You're starting to see some separation in this left armpit. And then same thing, you catch and start pulling a little bit early. So once again, same thing, left shoulder here. Left heel grounds. Put my mouse on the left shoulder. As ball goes through 0, you're shifting back a little bit early. But maybe that's part of it. If your orbit, like I said, your low point's about there, high point's about over there, left sector line. Maybe this is what you need. Like I said, this is kind of Litvinov-esque in a sense. Lipinoff Senior at least. Um, Hips look pretty stable. Knees bent. This is a really good position. Once again, could just be more relaxed through the arms. That's going to be a big time thing to fix to add distance is relaxing the arms. Like I said, get some tacky, get some toss and sauce from Throw Bros, get some spray adhesive from your athletic trainer, get it on Amazon, Mueller, whatever, Kramer, whatever brand you want. And then you start to see, because you do are pulling this left side a little bit more, this right leg gets a little bit more behind, gets a little bit wilder, a little bit wilder and wider. Like I said, knee up, lead with the instep of the foot, step over this left calf rather than kind of cowboying the leg around. And then a little high on this left toe. So same thing, like I said, your left leg has a tendency to straighten out. And then you start to see it drop a little bit, but not quite. Left side's not quite connected to your, which is why you see this kind of, you're barely on the left toe. Your left knee kind of opens up and you kind of like jump and gather just very slightly there. And that's why this is your latest catch of the entire throw. You're not really turning with it. Like I said, you kind of disconnect and gather and catch, and then you kind of slam the finish. You catch, there's not much tension, so this left side's going to pull. And then your hips trying to get up into it really well. Doing your job there, but it's just this left side's taking over. So you're kind of pulling the hammer across and shunting it out there. So, yeah, it's really, it's not terrible. There's just like some minor tweaks that you can make. Like I said, rhythm in the winds, and then a little bit more direction. And then, like I said, fixing this left leg in single support, dropping towards 180, keeps you grounded, helps you find direction, helps you find more stability. You do all these things, then you just need to be more patient. Finding the hammer or accelerating the hammer, it's a matter of letting the hammer get a little bit more ahead of you rather than just trying to move faster. All right, your body's already moving fast enough, as you can see here, especially in double support and limb turns. Your body's already moving ahead of the ball, so your body's moving too fast. And that's the thing. There's this thing in hammer. Kibwe, Tao of hammer. Fast body, slow ball. Slow body, fast ball. So, food for thought. Alrighty. This is the longest technical analysis I've done in a while, so hopefully you found value in it, Garrett. If anybody else out there would like a technical analysis of this quality, hit me up. Go to my website, gripandrip.co, if you need online coaching, throws programming, lifting programming, whatever it might be. Hit your boy up. Summertime's the time to make big changes. I know a lot of college kids are at home doing their own thing. If you need some extra direction, if your coach is cool with it, then hit me up, alrighty? So, thanks for watching. Until next time, Sean Don, signing off.